Peace, brothers and sisters in humanity. Another video from YouTube, and this time is brother Hamza'Den. Most of you know, okay? He's a convert to Sunnism, and he preaches Sunnism and Islam in Hyde Park, and I've seen him in YouTube as well. Alright, this video called, this is what I'm going to talk about, right? Simple logic just didn't work with her, okay? He's talking to this woman about the truth that he believes in, and she was correct, she was irrational, she was illogical, she wasn't answering questions right, and just simple questions right. I'm with him on that, but I'm going to use the same thing against him. Let's listen to him a little bit first, right? I don't want to accuse him, right? And now you listen, right? I'm not attacking the guy, or Mr. Hamza. I don't know him. It's the idea, right? It's the idea. I'll never actually, go after the people because I don't know them, to be honest. It's the ideas, their ideas. You know what I'm saying? I challenge their ideas with their own words, right? Come on. Listen to him a little bit.
I'm not asking, can both people believe something differently? I said, can they both be true? And the answer is no.
Well, it's a bit like saying, is this a car? So in matter of fact, is this a car or isn't this a car? Yes, it's a car.
Right.
So if we're saying that, if that's...
Can it be a car and a motorbike?
Well, that's, that's the fact of the matter. If we have a car and a motorbike, it's a car and a motorbike.
So can a car be a motorbike?
But if a person wants to believe a car is a motorbike, I'm really respectful.
Could that be true?
And I would allow them to believe that.
Would you believe it's true?
I don't have to believe it's true to
Could it be
respect to respect their position.
Could it be true?
I'm not going to be.
Do you respect lies?
Well, lies is a matter of opinion.
Do you respect lies?
No, not really.
You don't respect lies?
I don't think. No, I don't think lying helps you through life.
Right. So if both people are claiming something is true, one of them's lying.
I don't see it as binary as that. I just don't.
But it is a binary, is that?
I don't think it is. I disagree.
Why isn't it?
Because I believe that what one person honestly believes in their own mind, that they're allowed to.
What people believe in their mind doesn't affect reality.
Well, reality can be one thing. So
It's
like
only
you
one
say,
thing.
a car's a car, but if a person would like to believe a car's a motorbike,
That's
okay. That's okay.
If someone looked at a car and said that's a motorbike, what would you say to them?
They passionately believe it's a motorbike.
You're convinced it's not a motorbike?
Basically, the lady, the way I don't think Hamza got it, she said, a car is a car, but if you want to call it a bike, it's up to you. Do you know what I'm saying? She doesn't care. She doesn't really care, all right? Whatever people believe in, they believe in it. She doesn't really care, all right? That's her point, all right? Now listen to the final, then I'll go and talk about what I need to talk about.
Anyway,
Take care.
you too.
Alright. Okay, that was Kira. Very nice lady. Bit irrational. This is a problem, you see. When you ask people, do they care about, do they believe in absolute truth, they say yes. As soon as you ask them to ask you what that is, they don't know what they're saying. So, for example, I use the moon landing. People, why talk about the moon landing? Are you a moon landing denier? It's nothing to do with that. There are a set of people who believe the moon landing occurred. There are a set of moon landing people, so people who deny the moon landing. Both of them, in reality, cannot be correct. Someone's got it wrong. Yeah? And Kira can even admit someone's wrong. This is what we call irrationality, and unfortunately, my Achilles heel dealing with irrational.
Okay, Hamza. Now she's illogical, she's irrational. Okay. Now, I'm going to do the same with you, Mr. Hamza. Okay? All my respect, yeah? But you have to know what logic is. Let's just agree about there's some logic, all right? And there's some illogical logic. You know what I mean? That's what you guys use, the Sunnis, all right? Let's talk about if we can all understand what logic is, okay? If I give you this test, this book, all right? This book is to do with theory test, all right? And I tell you, it's got every detail in it. That means if you memorize this and you go to your test, you can definitely 100% pass it, all right? And let's just say at the end of the test, when you get to the test, there's questions. Although you memorize the whole book, but there's questions they're not in the book. What would you say? I mean, this book, that means I lied to you. I gave you a book that is missing things, and then I told you to memorize it, and then you failed your test. That means you have a reason to come back to me and tell me about it, and then you have the reason to retake the test because I lied to you. Is that simple logic? A simple logic, is it? Because at the end of the day, this book wasn't fully detailed. And I lied to you. If I give you this book as your teacher, all right, and I tell you this security spam, spyware, and viruses is the best ever, all right? It's the best. You can't compare it to anything else. Would you, after that, go and buy another book? You wouldn't. Why? Because you have the best book in this field. I don't need another book weaker than this. Who's got less details than this. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's simple logic, Mr. Hamza, isn't it? Yeah? Correct. But when you talk about you being irrational and you talk about people not using simple logic, this is to do with the book of God. Allah sent a book, okay, that you believe in. You say you believe in. You know what I'm saying? You said you have no doubt about it, right? You believe in that book. That is the word of Allah. And you preach it to people, isn't it? I'm not saying you do a good job at that, but when you move to Sunnism, this is it. That's when people start going a bit dulali, basically. All right. The second chapter, chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. I'm going to just say it in English because you can only speak English. ALM. This book is infallible. A beacon for the righteous. Alright? This is just the start of the book. This is it. Start of the book. Look at that verse. Alright? That means this book is the book. Is the word of Allah. Alright? Okay, let's move on. What he told you again. What he said time and time again. This is your Lord talking to you after telling you this book is infallible. There's no doubt. The smallest doubt about it. This is from God. And it doesn't contradict. Alright? This is your maker giving you this message and telling you at the start of the book, alright, what is this book about? Alright. And then after that, in few verses, I'm gonna read some. Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 89. We have revealed to you this book to provide explanations for everything, and guidance, and mercy, and good news for the submitters. Right? Explanations for everything. Okay. This book has an explanations about everything. Right? And then he told you, in chapter 6, verse 38, Surah Al-An'am, we did not leave anything out of this book. Alright? We did not leave anything out of this book. Okay. Now, we have this book who has everything. And that's not my words. That's the words of Allah, the one you believe in. And then you telling me that you need another book to explain this book. And that book is man-made, right? It's hearsay. from one person to another of hadiths, right? You call them hadiths. But listen though, listen to what Allah said. In chapter 39 verse 23, Az-Zumar, God has revealed herein the best hadith, a book that is consistent. You know what I mean? Your maker called the book, his book, the best hadith, a book that is consistent. Alright? See the two examples I gave you in the beginning? I'm just practicing them on you. And then God said, alright, in chapter 75 verse 18, Surah Al-Qiyamah, once we recite it, you shall follow such a Quran. Then is we will explain it. We who will explain it. Alright? That's another verse. And then what it tells you another verse in Surah Al-Rahman, chapter 55, verse 1. The most gracious teacher of the Quran. See, this is verses after verse after verse, and there's more verses than this, okay? God is telling you this book is the best hadith. He said he will explain the Quran. How he will explain the Quran to people that believe in the Quran and practice it. Believe in this book as the only book and then study it. Put the verses together. All the verses talk about the same story of Moses, put them together. The story of Joseph, put them together. Anything to do with anything, like I just done now, about how God said this book is perfect, is fully detailed, right? I just put them together, and then I can read them. I can understand them simple. Do you know what I'm saying? By studying the Quran, putting the verses together, right? Putting them in order. If something's talking about the zakat, I'll just get all the verses of the zakat and put them together and then read them all together. Study them. And I understand what God wants us, what is the zakat means. Okay? And I got the salat verses. Put them all together. And I understood what the salat is. And I got all the words for qibla. I put all the verses together. And I put them together and then I understood what the qibla is. Right? But because you guys, when you come into Islam, you're going to become Sunnis, you took the idea as zakat is money given, salat is to 5 times a day praying, you turn the salat to praying, right? And then 5 times a day, right? And then the qibla is where you face when you pray. And then because you couldn't find them details in the Quran, instead of you, as a believer, you believe in God's words, that is, the Quran is fully detailed, and you should have used your logic, right? And rationality, and probably ask that question is, if the salat is not what they're doing, if the zakat is not what they're doing, if the qibla is not what they're doing, they must be wrong. Not because the fully detailed book of God is not enough. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's logic. That is, either you believe in God, this book is the God of Allah, book of Allah, or you believe in a Bukhari. There's no in between. You can't be stuck in between, because that's a human book, a human made up book that is not consistent. It is not the best. Why would I leave the best hadith and I go to jokes and history, and why would I do that? That means this book is not good for me. It's not enough for me. It's not completed for me. I need something else with this book. Because I need to pray, I need to face the wall, I need to do something like everyone else is doing. I need to. That's the only way you can contact Allah is by going up and down or face the wall or something. You know what I'm saying? Why? And then you ask a question. I know a lot of people are doing that, but if you know what the majority in the Quran is, you understand the majority just follow like sheeps. The believers are very few. That's in the Quran. The majority is bad. That's in the Quran. Can you understand? I'm believing in this book and I'm practicing it. Now I know the truth. Because why? Because God explained it to me. Because I wanted to know so bad, right? That God showed me. I can read it now. I know how. Because I understood how to read the Quran, how to, wherever. I'll explain it one day. I'll give you all the details. It has keys. It has things you have to follow. It has laws. This Quran has laws to understand it. The laws are within it as well. You just have to read it and you understand it. It's not that hard. Well, it's hard if you don't do anything, obviously. But if you really, really want to understand, you will find that. You will understand it. Logic. God doesn't say send a book that no one understands. Just logic, man. It's just logic. It's your logic. But you become all rational. How do you do zakat? How do you do salat? How do you do qibla? When you read it, qibla has nothing to do with praying like you do. Alright? Find me a verse in the Quran, just say qibla is when you pray. Alright? Zakat is nothing to do with money, that giving away money like you do it. That's called sadaqat. As-sadaqatu lillah. Giving money is called sadaqat, it's not called zakat. Zakat is something that is purifying your soul and your money. That means you earn your money from a pure place. No haram in it. That's what it is. Zakat al-nafs, zakat al-mal. Alright? You want to give money, that's sadaqat. Alright? Salat has nothing to do with up and down. He said sujood, said ruku', but they're not together. They're not. It's like when you pray, do this. Now, sujood was said differently, and it doesn't mean what you do. Ruku', it doesn't mean what you do. It's said separately as well with the sujood, but not with praying. I mean, even when he's talking about sujood and ruku', it's nothing to do with praying. It's not like when you salat do that. God even told you to pray when you're laying down. Saying His name is praying. But you do, that's salat. Just saying His name is salat. فَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. He said God's word, he prayed. Or salah. Do you understand? Salat means entirely something different than what you're doing at the moment. But instead, Mr. Hamza and your logic and I don't know, you actually say you believe in the book of Allah and you read it and you read these verses and then again you go blind or something. I don't know what happens there. I don't know what really happens there. When you read this and then you go and follow Bukhari and the Hadith and you know what's in the Hadiths, alright? I know you keep like trying to defend them, alright? You know what's in the Hadith is not logic. And you're calling a lady mad and irrational when you are irrational and mad at the same time. And I'm here. I can debate you anytime you want, honestly. But do not play me, that's all. One subject at a time. That's it. And bring whoever you want. And it has to be timed as well. Because I know what you guys do. You don't let anyone talk. And that's not debating. That's definitely not debating. Peace out.